Hello, everyone. Welcome to Take the Black Live, the one and only show where we, hard-hitting journalists, have the courage to talk to you about what really matters: spaceships,
Right.
dinosaurs, swords, dragons, and things of this nature. TV, movies. I am Dan Selcke, the editor of winnerscoming.net. I'm here with Daniel Roman, another editor, winnerscoming.net. Daniel, how are you on this hard-hitting journalistic Wednesday afternoon?
I'm good. I am here and ready to discuss the serious business, the things we cannot continue about our daily lives without discussing, like what's going on in King's Landing and on the picket lines, which actually is somewhat more serious news than we would normally cover. So it's not
We're
even
always
wholly a joke
serious
today.
here. It's not. We are always serious. We are real reporters. We are with all the reporters groups, and we are on the front lines. We are actually in Spain right now, giving you the straight poop on what they are doing in the House of the Dragon set. We are on the picket lines with the WGA writers. We'll have video of that later, and we are going to prove our journalism credentials. We're winning a Peabody for this episode and all future episodes. Hello, Haley. Andrew Haley. Thanks for watching. Hey, Martha. Good to see you. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Boy, do we have a hard-hitting show of hard-ass news for you today. Daniel, what's our first hard news topic we're going to talk about to begin? Will I do this the entire time? Who knows?
Yes, do that. I'm just fixing something. I realized I have an audio thing. Riff, Dan.
Sometime in the news biz,
go for
sometime
2
in the
seconds.
news biz, things fall apart. The center does not hold, and technical things. This is from my computer. This little bit, this fell off the back of my laptop, and it fell off like months ago, maybe even a year ago. I just wave it around now.
There we go.
I don't know what it's supposed to do.
All right,
but it just goes to show you that sometimes you can't predict what's going to happen. Not in the news business, not in the blogging business, not in the engineering business, which is what I consider myself. Because
right.
I tried to fix this in the back of it. Daniel, are you ready? Are things situated?
I am
on your
ready.
end?
Sorry.
All right.
Yes, I realized the sound was coming out of my computer, and you sounded very distant. So that was on my end. So I had to fix it.
Because I'm on location.
Talk serious talk.
I'm in Afghanistan.
That's right.
Okay.
I'm on location in my office. Yeah, it's definitely not in New York anywhere. But yeah, what I missed. How we doing? What are we talking about? Are we ready to talk?
I just mugged for a minute and a half while you fix your thing. What are we talking about, Daniel? What's our first topic on the agenda today? We Take the Black Live, the only hard-hitting show. We talk for new space dragons, lasers, dinosaurs, fantasy movies.
That I heard all that. Yeah. So the first thing we're going to talk about is House of the Dragon is fully underway.
Ow.
It is filming. We've seen. Are y'all right there? What?
Yeah, I just got a little too serious. Was that the engineering?
What happened?
Just never mind. It's not important. Continue.
Okay. So before we get into, there have been some images that surfaced from the House of the Dragon set that are pretty exciting. We are going to talk about them. There may be some fire and blood spoilers. Be warned out there. But before we get to that, a fun little. I mean, it's fun for us. It's probably not fun for the guy it's happening to. But Dan. And you guys out there, do you remember when the House of the Dragon season finale leaked 2 days ahead of the air date?
That's a real question. My honest answer is no, but I believe it happened.
Okay. It did happen. It did happen. A lot of people wondered if it was a publicity stunt by HBO, but apparently,
yeah, sure.
Police in Israel have apprehended a hacker who they believe hacked into an HBO satellite television company server and stole and released House of the Dragon season 1 finale a few days early. So apparently one of the big clues that led to this discovery of this perpetrator was that they used their cat's name, Bird. The cat is named Bird. In their anonymous online persona. So
yeah, I still don't know if that meant like
they
named the upload bird, or their screen name was like Torrent Bird or something. I don't know.
Bird Torrent. Yeah, well, the police report did not specify this to the general public. So there's a reason we don't know that. We just know bird was involved somewhere in the name, and apparently the police figured out that that was the name of their cat, as well as a bunch of other stuff. It's not just like they saw the cat name and then said, we're going to comb the neighborhood for people with a cat named this.
Yeah,
There were a bunch of other technical markers that they used as well, but that is the funniest one, so I needed to mention it.
I don't want to be pedantic. I feel like I read the same report as you, and
But
I don't feel
you?
like, yeah, I do. Yeah, I do very badly. I don't think that like his cat being named Bird helped them find anything. I think that was just a fun little factoid after the fact. But I don't know. No one knows.
Probably.
The point is, the Israeli hacker who leaked the episode is now facing jail time in Israel. You know,
Yes.
people keep doing it. Will this deter folk from leaking things in the future? I don't know.
Nah.
I really don't know. Did you hear about the one guy who like pirated Nintendo games and they pursued him legally to the point where he got like 30 years in jail and he's in his 50s? He's gonna die in prison, that man.
What? No, I did not hear about this. It's always so crazy to hear these stories, and like this one's kind of legit. Like I understand why HBO had people investigating this.
I mean, sure.
Did you hear about the Magic the Gathering thing that happened a few weeks ago? Someone
sounds
put
familiar.
up cards on their YouTube channel a week or two early on accident,
Cards.
and
Yeah,
Wizards of the
yeah.
Coast sent the Pinkertons to his
Detectives.
house.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
Yeah, well, like I guess the Pinkertons, that's like a private, you hear them in like westerns, like they're the bad guys.
They go
so
back
they're
literally
private law
centuries, the
enforcement.
Pinkertons. Yeah, they've been around for a long time. I mean, I wonder if, I feel like we're getting more stories about leakers getting punished. I wonder if that will result in a chilling effect, if people will be less willing to leak stuff. I guess we'll wait for the next big show to find out. Yeah.
Yes. But fortunately, no one is leaking House of the Dragon season 2 because it's not filmed yet.
We're literally going to show you pictures of the set that they don't want us to show you. So
HBO, my cat is not named Bird. Don't come to my house. I'll never tell you their names.
I
definitely don't say it. Dan doesn't remember it. I definitely don't say it on this podcast.
Coda. It's
every
Coda.
Couple of weeks. HBO's listening, and we're going to talk serious business here. But yeah, so Dan, you have seen these pictures. What's the deal with these? Because House of the Dragon is basically, it's filming in a few spots. It's supposedly filming in Wales right now. It's filming in Caceres, Spain, which is where this picture is from. That's King's Landing, but not really. That's Caceres, Spain. So what's the deal, Dan? Can you fill us in on this a little bit?
I think that's actually Trujillo, which is a town near Caceres in Spain. Okay. Like, okay, so from what I understand, I got to learn all about Spanish geography last year because of this stuff. Caceres is a big capital city, and Trujillo is a nearby town. They've both been used in Game of House of Dragon before. And Trujillo is being dressed for King's Landing. Makes sense. They used it there. I think they used it for that first scene where Cyrax is flying over and we just see like a bustling marketplace of people walking around doing stuff. So we'll return to King's Landing. Big old shocker there. No one could have seen that coming. But yeah, and they've been filming for a couple of months or so now, because they were filming before the writer's strike happened, and then they kept filming 3 weeks ago when it got called. So they've been shooting for a while, but they haven't been outdoors in these big outdoor sets yet. So we're going to see them dress this set. And then there's going to be filming in Caceres later this. I think filming in Spain starts tomorrow. Right now, they're just dressing the place and rehearsing it with actors like Olivia Cook, Alison Hightower, Fabian Franco, Kristen Cole, and apparently Emma Darcy, Rhaenyra Targaryen is there too, which
is interesting.
I mean, the worst case scenario here is that they're writing some stupid new scene where Rhaenyra somehow comes into King's Landing and runs across Alicent in the street, which makes no sense. But I mean, there's lots of things it could mean. Maybe they found some alcove to film a Dragonstone bit in. I don't know. Maybe they get to maybe the season ends with Rhaenyra taking King's Landing. That's kind of seems, which now that it's 8 episodes, it seems a little less likely, but it's possible.
Yeah, that was what I originally thought they'd do before they announced the 8 episodes, but so it's not off the table.
Not off the
But
table.
yeah, I'm with you. I hope they didn't invent some half-cocked random reason for her to go there.
Me too. I also just some solid comments, by the way, we'll read in just a second. Thank you for contributing, especially Saiganisha. I appreciate it. So yeah, filming is going to start tomorrow in Trujillo and then start in Caceres, like I think Sunday and go through next week. And we'll see who's actually on set. We might get photos, and if we see Allison and Rhaenyra like playing paddywhack together on the street, I'm gonna have a fit. We also have this lovely picture of now these spoilers begin.
Yeah,
so this is
Spoilerville. If you don't know about Fire and Blood, if you don't know about Blood and Cheese, you may want to close your ears here for a minute, because I assume we're going to talk about that, right?
I can dip and dive.
That's what we think this is.
Yeah, this says Ja funeral action
I'll follow
props.
your lead.
So Ja probably means Prince Jaehaerys, which is the son, one of the kids of Aegon and Helena. And the young prince, we saw him very, very briefly in season 1. He dies in a rather brutal scene coming up involving a couple of assassins known to history only as Blood and Cheese. And we'll see it. They've been talking about it, I'm sure. I'm surprised that you didn't put in a picture of what I thought was the best one. There's also a picture of a wagon that has this big tarp over it. And there are lots of shots of that. And that is really juicy, because the fan speculation is that is the tarp is covering up the head of the dragon Meraxes, who they are carting through the streets of Melees, sorry. I hope I didn't spell it wrong in my write-up. Whatever. The head of the dragon, I don't think I did. The head of the dragon Melees, who they are carting through King's Landing, because in Fire and Blood, the book the House of the Dragon is based on. And again, spoilers, the house down.
Yeah.
Melees, who is the dragon of Rhaenys Targaryen, gets killed right good in a dragon on dragon battle about maybe halfway through the season, if they stick to the timeline. And then
we are definitely expecting it this season.
Definitely.
No question.
It'd be a good one.
It will be one of the big events of this season. And yeah, so I didn't think to download it because that was a tweet in your article. But you can find this picture online. It's basically a giant wagon with a covered tarp over it. And the speculation is so after Melees meets her ends, Aemond and Aegon take her head back to King's Landing, I believe. So the speculation is that's what that giant covered tarp is going to be, a dragon head. So yeah, that is really juicy. It also tells us, obviously they're not shooting things strictly chronologically. However, they're doing this. They never do. But to see that on set at the same time as these Ja funeral objects, it's interesting. There's another one that
I want to say this with thanks to Javi Borrega or Heisenberg on Twitter. He has great pictures at Javi Borrega. You know what? I'm going to copy it if you guys want to look at more of these, because he is bringing the heat in terms of juicy set pictures. Go here if you're interested in seeing. What the hell?
Do it. Okay, so while you're doing that, can we pull up the last picture? I'll talk about this last picture while you're grabbing that link. So this one we've got two, and this is just a horse, obviously, with looks like a trainer on it. But there's something very interesting about this horse, and that is the I want to say a blanket. It's not there's a name for this thing on the horse, and I can't remember what it is, and it's bugging me. But
yeah, it's called Targaryen super sigil. Fancy horse drape.
Yeah, that's definitely the historically accurate term. So there's a Targaryen sigil in the bottom left corner of the horse's drape, and it's worth noting that it's a golden Targaryen sigil. And I believe Aegon the Second that is a sigil he starts using during the war is a golden Targaryen sigil as his own. So presumably we're going to see that happen with different Targaryen sigils next season, which is pretty cool.
I mean, I guess I wonder if part of the calculus when remember at the end of the first season when they completely just shot themselves in the knee, the foot, and the groin with that episode 9 thing where Meleys burst from under the ground
Your
and
favorite
ruins
episode? Yeah.
Aegon's coronation.
Yes.
That was such a stupid,
Yes, I do.
wrong-headed idea. I wonder maybe they just want to get Meleys out there more, so like we'll recognize her when she has her big scene
Yeah.
later. But of course, Sunfire is a part of that. We haven't seen him, so just oh god, it's so weird.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I liked getting to see Meleys, even though that scene, you know, we can debate it all day. I don't think it I think the mileage may vary, but yeah, it wasn't the best scene of the show. I agree with that. But
one little side
it
story.
is interesting to see.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say it's interesting which dragons they choose to focus on because obviously a golden dragon sigil makes a lot more sense when you've seen Aegon's dragon Sunfire, who is a golden dragon, and that's why he picks those colors.
I want to see Sunfire. I really do. Also, that me and my partner.
We got a glimpse. That's it.
Just really quick fun story. My partner is a big fan of Game of Thrones. We really bonded over it when it was first on. And
Excellent.
they were kind of like, you know, I don't know if I need to watch House of the Dragon. I kind of got my Game of Thrones fill, and I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. So I'm watching House of the Dragon.
That's fair.
And I came very like after episode 8 where Viserys walks the floor. We watched the pilot together, and they're like, this is good, but I don't think I need to watch this. And sure. Viserys walks the floor, and I was like bawling. I was like, okay, if this keeps up, I'm gonna take another run at them and say like, please, you gotta watch. It's so good. You gotta watch this. And it was episode 9, and I'm like, oh, it's episode 9, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. There's no point. The show is not. I will keep watching. I like it, but this is not good enough to try and convince someone else to watch.
That is, I mean, it's definitely a less broadly recommendable show. I do agree with that. Compared to Game of Thrones, where it's, you know, here's your classic fantasy thing, we can kind of recommend that. House of the Dragon's a little more niche. It's a little slower, and then obviously they made some decisions in season 1.
If they didn't do that, I'd recommend it. I mean, I think it's a good show. I think it's as recommendable as Game of Thrones.
It
wasn't good enough. Just that particular one, I was like, I was going to do it. This is too good. I have to share this. I have to share this with them. And then after that, I was like, nah.
Can I? So I want to bring things back around to these pictures. I have a question for you that I've been wondering. So we don't have a picture of this. You could see it a little bit in the horse picture, maybe. But you wrote an article about this, about ash on the streets.
Oh yeah.
They were dressing the setting. We can't really tell if this is it, but the picture looks kind of like that.
Yeah, it does.
Where you can see just there's a layer of ash over the streets in whatever setting they're filming in, which is obviously King's Landing. We kind of speculated that maybe that's from a battle or something like that. Like that's the first thing that comes to mind. But I also wonder if maybe that has to do with the funeral. Like, what are your thoughts on the like? Are we seeing
honestly,
some sort of Targaryen funeral?
Looking at it in context, looking at just the picture of the fancy horse with it, it just looks like normal set dressing to me. Like there's a bit of gravelly, sandy stuff on the ground.
That's fair. Could be that. Could just be gravel on the ground.
It doesn't look special. Like in this picture, it looks pretty ordinary, which is acceptable, and I'm fine with it.
Yeah. So yeah, those are the latest dispatches from the House of the Dragon set. We don't have pictures from Wales, but they are apparently filming in Wales as well. And there is a castle set, I believe, that was constructed there.
Indeed.
Correct me if I'm wrong on this, Dan. I think you probably know better than me.
I think it was a castle.
It was a castle. So they
ruin.
Are filming in and around a castle or ruin.
Mhm.
One of the speculations there is that maybe Rook's Rest is what they're filming in Wales, which
Could
that's
be.
an important setting we are going to see next season, most likely.
Oh yeah,
Um,
plenty of fun
but yeah,
things to
those,
line up. Can you do
yes,
a Welsh accent, Daniel?
I cannot. I couldn't even attempt to if my
Nope,
life
nor could
depended
I.
on it.
I'm not touching it with
uh,
a 50-foot part of a laptop. Nope, can't do it. Won't
nice.
try. Just wondered if anybody out there, if anybody can, email us. By the way, Saiganisha getting
That
some great comments. You asked earlier, Saiganisha, you said that about the hacker who got caught, that you didn't think anyone would catch them. It was like 7 months ago.
yeah.
And the message is don't mess with HBO. I do seriously wonder, like, yes, they're arresting this person, they're facing jail time. I don't know if that will actually deter people. I really don't. But maybe because I feel like for a long time, hacking, leaking has just been thought of as an ordinary thing that happens, cost of doing business, just a standard thing. Maybe if they do make a bigger stink about it and they arrest more folk, put them in jail even, people will think twice, thrice about releasing unaired episodes of stuff, releasing games. But it could be
Eh,
a brand new frontier for this stuff. I mean,
I think,
people put murderers in jail and they still kill people, so I don't know.
I don't think it's going to make any difference. We kind of saw this with the music industry,
It's
like
true.
15
Yeah.
years ago with Napster, and then labels putting legal pressure on people and having cops show up at their house if they downloaded songs online. And,
Did that
that
happen?
doesn't really, it totally happened. Yes. Over petty, small amounts of music being stolen. And I think the thing it comes down to is that the resources being expended to do legal cases on
Mhm.
these people for what they are doing is probably not worth the investment. With something like House of the Dragon, it's a little different, leaking something a few days early, um,
It's like a
rather
big
than just like
identifiable
leaking it to make it
thing. Yeah.
free. Exactly. Yeah, that's like it reminded me of the Game of Thrones season 5 when the first 4 episodes all leaked, and that was pretty much when HBO decided to do their screeners in a
Cut us
different
all
way,
off. Yeah.
because those were pretty obviously press screeners that someone had stolen,
Yeah, that was
because
a
it was all 4
journalist.
at once, or it
Mhm.
was a journalist who released them. Yeah. So this
I
was
mean,
not that, but
release
yeah,
them or just
apparently,
like whoopsied or something and uploaded them and
or
didn't know. It was a different time.
either way,
2015 was
somebody
different.
messed up.
Hmm.
Yes, it
Most
was a different
definitely.
time, but so apparently HBO lodged this complaint with Israeli police like after the episode leaked. So that
Um,
gives you an idea of how long this investigation has taken. That's like 7 months ago.
yeah, that's
So
like what you said.
yeah, I don't foresee this changing the
And they
piracy
knew that it was like
landscape much.
from someone in Israel too. Yeah, because it's worldwide, and like who even is getting informed about these arrests? Like I'm not sure if we're
Yep.
really paying attention. But yeah.
Yep.
And Saiganisha also
So
says that, and by the way, hi Nicole, good to see you. Saiganisha
yeah,
thought
hey
that season
Nicole.
1 of Game of Thrones a good fight, which I agree with. House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones season 1 a good fight. Most of the folk I recommended who fell off the franchise season 8 thought House of the Dragon was a match in the right direction. I think it's done a really good job of following up on it.
I
Just in
agree with
this
that.
one instance, my partner having fallen off and just kind of being like, I've done a lot of that. Um, just for this one relationship, I came so close to just make like you have to watch the rest of this. It's too good. And then to just going back
Yeah.
to if they hadn't I had this stupid episode, I would have done that.
That's fair. That's fair. Um, but yeah, so that is what's going on. I think it's so Saganisha says, oh, live in the chat. All right. I think it's just because it is a massive internationally anticipated show. There's
Yeah,
not really a comparison to other highly viewed shows. Even The Amazing Succession highest viewership is like
true.
3.5 mil. Yeah,
I love talking
totally.
Succession, but
Aside
it
from something
is
like,
quite a bit down.
yeah, I think maybe something like The Last of Us is really one
Hmm.
of the closest things we've got to House of
Yeah,
the
completely.
Dragon right now in terms of the viewership. And yeah, hopefully we can get pictures of the director on location in addition to
I think
actors.
we
We
will.
can probably figure out through clapboards or a call sheet which of the episodes is filming right now. That is exactly the kind of stuff we'll be keeping a close eye out for. And I'm
Yeah.
also curious, it would be nice to get pictures of directors on location because I want to know what Ryan
Probably will.
Condal's doing right
Good
now. Because
point.
the other
What's that
thing,
scab up to?
it's it's nice to talk about House of the Dragon. Filming is in full swing, but it is worth noting still that the Hollywood writers' strike is still on. That's kind of the other thing we have to really touch on today is that Strike Watch, it is ongoing. The strike is now into its third week. I think we're on day 15 or 16 right now. And more shows are being shut down. House of the Dragon's not one of them because it's filming over in Europe. Picketers can't really hit House of the Dragon the way they are hitting all of the US based shows. And Ryan Condal still hasn't made a comment. So we really don't know what the situation there is.
So curious.
Whether there are going to be repercussions for him from the Writers Guilds.
And shows can get
definitely
shut.
not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, I'm not sure what would happen if he got. Who knows? Perhaps we can find someone like a writer to interview about this and like pick their brain. Because I mean, what else are they doing? The Penguin show got shut down. What? Sorry, you say hiking?
Yes. I said striking.
Striking. Cool. Yeah, I mean they can do that 24/7.
That's fair. Business hours.
Anyway,
Actually, no, they've been hitting the picket lines at like 4 a.m. I've seen a lot of videos of people getting out like while it's still dark out because that makes some studios are trying to be sneaky with this. They're changing call times in some cities to try and get people in before the picketers can show up and set up their lines and stuff like that. But apparently the picketers have good enough resources in the other unions that hasn't really been going well. So like you were saying, the Penguin got shut down today in Westchester, New York.
Shucks.
Yep. I hope the picketers got some bagels on the way because Westchester's got pretty decent bagels.
All right. Go Westchester.
But yeah, what else? The Mandalorian is also reportedly looking at a film delay.
Sure.
Which I feel like that's another one kind of like The Last of Us where it's like you guys are in an okay spot to have a delay.
Yeah.
Before
the cameras start rolling. Yeah.
Cameras haven't started rolling. I don't even know that they have the scripts finished. They said they have the season broken. So they know the story of season 4.
I heard the scripts were done.
Figured it out during season 3, what season 4 would be.
I heard the
scripts are done.
I did. That's what I heard in the download of the 411. But
I believe
I could be wrong.
You're probably not.
I'm not joking, by the way. That is what I read. That scripts are finished.
Yeah, no, I do believe you. I'm not. I just sound perpetually sarcastic, but I absolutely believe that you're right on that.
And I joke a lot, so I worry people won't believe you when I'm being serious. But I just want to assure everybody. Okay, go on.
It's a blessing and a curse. But speaking of scripts, one show that does not have scripts done that was doing something kind of interesting is The Last of Us. So The Last of Us was apparently preparing to audition actors using sides directly from The Last of Us Part 2 video game.
They don't have
any scripts written. They didn't write anything new. They just took scenes straight from the video game, which isn't that crazy because like season 1 did have scenes that are right almost word for word from the game. Like these games have television and movie quality writing, so it's not unreasonable to do that.
Yeah.
They were sending out game scripts to actors apparently to get them ready to audition, but they decided to stop. So casting is officially on hold for The Last of Us, which we can pretty much assume means The Last of Us is more or less on.
Things are on hold. Things are not going to move forward, not until this is over. God, I hope it picks it up because I mean, there was a lot of buzz around the strike when it first started, and now it's going on, but people aren't really reporting on it much anymore. And I feel like to get some leverage and some momentum, you do need eyes on the movement. So I hope they are able to stir up some dust and get eyes on them.
Yeah.
So the studios will come to the table. The directors and the actors can help with that regard, but that'll be soon enough.
Absolutely. And it's cool to see people like, we talked about this, I think last week, that Severance got shut down. And a day or two later, there were pictures of Adam Scott, the star of Severance, on the picket line. So it does make a huge difference. The guy's name is slipping my mind, but the two stars of Ted Lasso, the two main
Jason
dudes from that.
Sudeikis and the guy who was beside Jason Sudeikis.
Exactly. Coach
Beard.
Coach Beard, yeah.
Beard.
Jason Sudeikis and Coach Beard were both on the picket lines. They gave some great interviews talking about why this stuff is important. And Craig Mazin is apparently, he's been spotted on the picket lines too. So that is part. No,
Sure,
they are not working on The Last of Us. Neil Druckmann is presumably off doing game stuff. He's just not working on the show at all.
Game stuff where there are no unions nowhere.
Oh, that's brutal, but true.
Oh, that whole industry. Unions no. Unions what? Unions where? They don't got none. That game industry was came into being under Reagan in the 80s. Unions? I don't think so. And I continue that tradition up till today.
Yeah, so they're hard at work doing, the game industry is a whole nother thing. We don't need to go too deep.
Yeah, we don't got to talk about that.
They have a reputation for some bad worker habits. But yeah, so that is the latest on the strike. I feel like there was something else. Oh, I don't know if you heard this, Dan. So I saw someone from the Writers Guild sharing around statistics today about how much the strike is costing studios per day because of how many productions have been shut down at this point.
Fun.
And apparently, using those calculations, which obviously we can contest quite how accurate down to the dollar or whatever they are.
Sure.
Studios have already approximately lost more money than they would have lost by just agreeing to what the writers wanted in the first place. After 15 days of this strike, they've already spent more by having productions being shut down.
I mean, not to take the side of the money grubbing Mr. Burns at studios. No,
let's hear it.
Well, I mean, what does that mean? Like they've lost as much as they would have paying them. Like paying them what for that same amount of time? Because they're thinking like we're going to pay them this increased money for the rest of their careers. I mean, maybe that would equal out what they lost in 15 days.
Nah, so it's I believe they negotiate the contract every 3 years. So this is the money they're asking for the next 3 years, that additional money, which is then they would renegotiate it after that. So the money they are asking for the next 3 years, that is less than what has been lost by shutting down production so far.
Yeah. Well, that seems like a pretty simple calculation.
I'm just a dude on Twitter reading tweets, and it seems like it to me.
It does seem like if I were Bob Iger or if I were David Zaslav, it seems pretty simple that you should come to the table and give the writers what they're worth. But it is interesting too, just because we'll move on. I know we also talk about, but just it's interesting that different networks have different incentives, right? Like if you're HBO, or like you probably have more incentive to come to the table than like CBS, who I'm not sure if CBS, like some network, Fox or whatever, like
ABC.
revealed their ABC, that like their fall schedule is all
ABC.
reality.
Yeah, their strike-proof schedule.
Yeah, but like HBO is not switching over to like all Love Island all the time. Like they want their high quality scripted shows. That's what they're known for. So
I mean, Max might be. Sorry,
I guess they could. Max. I mean, even Max. I'm not sure. Like, they really have a reality hit, do they? They might. I don't know. But
I don't.
There are certain networks that depend more on scripted stuff that can't. That it's harder for them to just go over and do non-scripted stuff. So they're gonna want.
Totally.
I'm gonna guess they're more interested in talking, but the group that's speaking on behalf of all of them, which the name slips my mind right now, but I guess
AMPTP.
They might get how smart of you, how many letters, they probably get outvoted. So it's interesting. I'm sure there are talks in there, and for all the executives who watch this show, I might see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of you right now. Come to the table, talk it out, and we can all get back to doing what we love, which is not going outside and watching a television.
That's right. That's right. And yeah, it is interesting to think about which networks might have more or less incentives with this stuff. Netflix is one I've seen touted around quite a lot as one of the worse when it comes to the strike and generally like union busting and trying to
I can believe it.
narrow down writers' rooms, things like that. I would recommend anyone who's interested in this, it is worth it to follow Adam Conroy, who is Adam Ruins Everything.
Oh,
that Adam.
guy? Yeah.
He's been doing a lot of really, really, really great reporting. I hesitate to even call it reporting because he's just doing his thing basically from the picket lines. But he's definitely a good resource for anyone who wants to know more about this stuff.
Very cool.
But
yeah, Daniel,
that's the latest from the strike.
That's all happening.
Yes.
But there's still TV coming out that was made like a year ago. Are you watching anything?
Yes.
Are you watching anything? People out there.
Yeah. So I started Silo. I started Silo today, actually. And that is a pretty interesting show. I think anyone who likes shows like Westworld or The Peripheral, like those sorts of kind of mind-bending sci-fi shows. Silo is based on a series of books from Hugh Howey that started with a book called Wool. And yeah, basically the last 10,000 people on Earth live in this underground bunker called the Silo. They've been living there for hundreds of years, so long they don't even remember why they're living there, but that the outside world apparently means death and it's toxic. But it's a show of mysteries and mysteries, and basically if you break the rules, they throw you outside. And the show starts with the lead police officer, Sheriff Holston, who is the guy in the right on this picture. He locks himself in a cell and says he wants to go out. And he's locked himself in the cell to keep himself safe until he does, and kind of draw a line in the sand because some stuff went down with his wife, and he's trying to get to the bottom of it. It's got a good cast. That's Rebecca Ferguson in there with him from Dune.
Cool.
She plays Lady Jessica in Dune. She's an engineer named Juliet in this show who is similarly trying to unravel this dystopian underground society and what is real and what's not. If you like Fallout, it's a very Fallout-y type show.
That's cool.
That's the main thing I've been watching. What about you, Dan?
If I have time, I'll try to check it out. I'm watching my stuff that I've been watching normally. Nothing new. Succession, which is really good. Ted Lasso.
I heard the last one was great.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest. I didn't love it as much as I wanted to or thought it was. I thought it was kind of naive.
Sure.
I don't know. I won't go into the
you're
details.
Tell me you hated episode 9 of House of the Dragon or something.
That one blew. But Succession, it was good.
Okay.
You haven't seen it, so I'm not going to spoil things. That kind of pretended that some of the characters have principles, and I found it kind of hard to swallow. It was like, since when have you cared about any of this?
Okay.
And the conflict hinged on will the principals win out? And I'm like, well, they've never had any, so I don't see why we're putting weight on this. So that was kind of my problem with it, but that's the vague thing.
That's fun.
And by the way, Richard says, I forgot because of Zelda. Okay, have you bought it? I have it. I haven't played it yet. I'm gonna mainline it this weekend. I'm gonna shut myself in a room to play Zelda. I'm planning on it.
I
taking Friday off.
Totally forgot to put this. I have it too. I got Zelda last weekend. I've started it. It's excellent. So enjoy.
I do not like the title. I will say that.
I am warming up to it. I liked it less, and now I'm playing it, and I'm gradually starting to like it more.
I might come around to it. It gives me the Rise of Skywalker vibes, where it's I don't think those words
I remember you saying
go together the way you've put them together. But I mean, I'm looking forward to the game very much.
What I would say about that is that could be the case. But after playing a little bit, I do wonder if there's going to actually be some kind of meaning behind it. The jury is out for me now on Tears of the Kingdom since I started playing it. But so I have to ask, have you seen any of the videos of people like torturing Koroks in this one. They're like the little leaf
I
people.
did see like a video of someone who built like a crucifixion truck where they put a
Yes.
crucified. Yeah, it sounds fun.
Yeah. So they definitely took like the open-endedness that was in a cooking system of Breath of the Wild, and they were just like, we're gonna put this in all the rest of the systems in the game. So
Cool.
it's very fun and very open-ended. But I
Looking
won't say
forward to
anything
it. I'm
else
glad
because I
you're
don't want to
enjoying it.
spoil it. Yeah, it's great.
That's it.
You watching anything else?
Not really. No, I said Ted Lasso, Barry, Succession, RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars, and after
Nice.
that, I got the final season of Breaking Bad. Finally came on Netflix, so I'll watch that. I want to watch Severance. I've been looking forward to that one for a while. Wrap up For All Mankind, and those are next after this is all over. And then, of course, next month we have The Witcher coming. We have Secret Invasion, which we'll probably cover. We got Outlander, lots of
Black Mirror,
lots of stuff coming up. What's that?
Yeah, I said Black Mirror too.
Black Mirror, right?
June is a packed month for television, so we are kind of in a little bit of a slump right now in terms of just the amount of shows.
Oh, there's plenty to watch. I also am watching still. I'm gonna finish Citadel. I started it, and it's like 30 minutes. I put it on during my lunch break. It goes really fast. It's just I can't believe they spent so much money on this. It's just not very good. But I'll finish that out. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty fair. That's pretty fair. I started Barry also, which I've been so my partner put it on because she had started watching it, and I just kind of snuck in and watched some of it, jumped in kind of in the middle, and yeah, that show is great. I didn't expect the kind of back and forth between the murderer life and like that he is trying to become an actor, or like the Hollywood commentary is kind of amazing in that show. Like his acting coach, whose name evades me, the Fonz,
Mr. Cousineau.
Mr. Cousineau. That guy actually teaches acting classes in Hollywood, so it's hilarious to me to like see him doing that in the show.
Well, I mean, that's Henry Winkler. He's been a big actor for decades.
No, I know he has, but just the fact that like what he's, like I said, he does also do classes.
Sure.
So knowing that that's a thing he does outside of acting that he is here doing in this show is kind of cool.
It's wild, man.
Yeah. JD Palm says, thank you, Dan and Daniel. Per your recommendations, I just finished Mistborn. Awesome.
Ooh. Oh, cool.
And
Very
binge watched and am now caught up on Succession. Both great picks. That's awesome. Glad you enjoyed them both.
Yeah. The world is full of cool things to read. I also finally finished Time of Contempt, The Witcher, and I'm going to I'm going to move on to The Three Body Problem. Finally, my next book to read.
Oh,
I'm looking forward to.
Cool.
After I finished The Devil in the White City, which was like the soccer mom summer beach read of 2003, and now I'm reading. I don't know why I'm doing it now, but I am, and I'll just finish that up. I'm not sure why I picked that up like 20 years after it was big, but here we are.
Good?
Yeah, it's good. It's nice. H.H. Holmes, Chicago. It's a good book, entertaining,
cool,
narrative nonfiction.
Excellent. I've actually been reading a lot lately, so I'll just throw those up there too. I've been reading this book. No way. The Lost War, which is very much like a dark sword and sorcery fantasy. Like if you like D&D, there's like a party of adventurers who argue a lot, but they secretly love each other. And really, really excellent book. I've been enjoying a lot. And I'm starting another book called The Blighted Stars this week, which is like a sci-fi. Yeah, super good title by Megan E. O'Keefe. So looking forward to that one too. And then last book, Preset by Serena Dolan, which is a prequel to a book that basically the idea is people's memories get wiped every 4 years as a way to function in this utopian society. So it's like, can you still love people if you don't remember them?
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
Can you get your memories back? It's like a literary sci-fi, a little more like a Ray Bradbury type book. I really
it
enjoyed the
sounds
first one. So
high concept, high minded. That's your question.
yeah, I'm looking forward to reading the prequel. What's up?
How many hours a day would you spend? Would you say that you spend reading,
Too many.
or how much time?
No, I
Good
don't
answer.
know. Probably it really depends on the day. I'm like a binge reading
Sure.
person. I'm not someone who has healthy habits with this stuff where I'm, doing it for a
Not
half an
like
hour
a
every
half
morning
hour
or
before
whatever.
bed.
No, it's more like I won't read for 3 days and then I'll read for like 5 hours one day. That sort of
Cool.
thing. But yeah, that's what I've been reading, watching. Oh yeah, Andrew, Heir to the Empire, good choice.
Ooh, which
I
is apparently
I
what the new Star Wars movie is going to be called, by the way.
Is it
They've
really?
that was the scuttlebutt going around. I don't know if it was like it's one of those things where like a tweet said it and then it became true. I wouldn't put
I
that
see.
in lights on a marquee, but that is the word.
Well, I think that would probably be one of the smartest choices that Lucasfilm could make, honestly, because Thrawn is just like such an iconic Star Wars villain
Mhm.
that it's kind of like, even for people who don't know Star Wars books, like I don't really know the Star Wars books that well, but I
Neither do
know
I.
Heir to the Empire.
Me too.
I know if you're gonna pick one, you should probably pick that one in that series to read. So cool, Andrew. Looking forward to hearing what you think of that one.
One time in
And yeah,
college,
Dave
I
Filoni's movie.
took like a statistics course in the summer to get the credit, and my teacher had a Star Wars book on his desk that he read during exams, and it made me respect him less. But so I know about them too.
That's fun.
Not really, but well, I'm like,
Uh,
oh,
yeah, one of
anywho,
these days we need to get Chelsea Zukowski on here, who is the Star Wars book
ooh, good
expert at
call.
Winter is Coming. She knows all about all those different books. But yeah, that I would be excited to find out that Heir to the Empire is actually what that movie is going to be and going to be about.
Yeah,
But
that's what Twitter's saying.
we'll see.
You can't trust Twitter. Who
That's what
can you
Twitter's
trust?
saying.
Mhm.
Therefore, it must be true.
Therefore, it is.
But yeah. All right. Well, Dan, should we move on to the famous WiC News Lightning Round? Is it that time?
Let's move on to it.
Okay. Um, all right.
Oh,
Buzzer at the ready. All right. So I think this first one is for you because I don't know anything about this show,
Hitman,
aside from that it's
Hitman.
supposedly
Oh.
very funny. So Archer, the long running, I think it's on FX,
Yeah. Now
animated
FXX.
series, FXXXX. So it's ending with its upcoming 14th season. That'll be the end of Archer.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of Archer over the years. It's always one of those like animated comedies that just goes down easy. You can put it on and just enjoy it and just kind of then forget about it. It's good. I respect the show. It's been on for a long time. H. John Benjamin, Jessica Walter, I love. She died a couple of years ago, so they've gone like 2 seasons
Yeah.
without her. Time to end it. It'd be weird if you go too long without her, but I always liked the show. That it lasted that long. Good for it. Bon voyage.
Yeah.
All right,
That's a respectable
Daniel.
run.
Um,
Yes.
put this in your nose and snort it. Avatar: The Way of Water is coming to streaming on June 7th on both Disney Plus and Max. So HBO Max. So Avatar: The Way of Water gonna be on 2 streaming services. Whoa.
Yes. You'll be able to see Way of Water on whatever streaming service. I'm only moderately excited because I am a hardcore see it in the theater in 3D stan. But it's interesting that it's Disney Plus and Max because, normally these things are exclusive, but apparently Max, this is the last year of their contract they had with Fox to stream some of their content. So
Very cool.
watch Avatar wherever you want for now. It won't last. Um, all right, Dan. So Amazon,
Mhm.
which does not have the Way of Water unless you get a Max subscription through Amazon. But they also make Lord of the Rings stuff, and apparently they are making a new Lord of the Rings MMORPG, which is a massively multiplayer online role-playing game. Think like World of Warcraft, that sort of game, but Lord of the Rings, which has happened before, and it is happening again.
It is happening again. Good for them. I'm kind of surprised. I mean, I won't play it, but I hope folk enjoy it.
Same.
I was a little surprised that they didn't like make it about like the Second Age or the Rings of Power for that cross company synergy or whatever. But
Same.
cool. I hope that folks enjoy it. Like I know there are a lot of Lord of the Rings fans, people who play games Lord of the Rings. Go on and have a good time.
Yeah,
Okay.
totally.
Oh, here's one that I know you'll be able to shed some light on because you are a follower of all things Robert Jordan. Actor
Yes.
Mira Sial is confirmed to be playing Viren Mathwin in the second season of The Wheel of Time. Do not Google her, you say. Why not?
Yes. There are the Wheel of Time, long running book series. There are spoilers out there for some of these characters. Varen is a character you don't want the spoilers for, but we got our
I think it
first
was
look
spoiled.
at Varen during the BAFTA TV Awards at Mira Sial. That's her in costume. So we know she will be appearing as Varen in season 2. It's going to be awesome. Use
Yeah,
extreme caution if you try to look her up.
come
That's
on,
all
that
I will
show.
say.
Get on it. Wheel of Time season 2. Bring it to me. I'm tired of waiting for that one.
The hype train is very
Not.
slowly gaining steam. It's moving a mile a week. All right. So speaking of things that maybe don't have the most hype but are in a weird spot, I don't know how I'm segueing there, but I'm doing it. The CW has canceled the yeah, the CW has canceled its Supernatural spinoff, The Winchesters. And at the exact same time, Jensen Ackles, who was on the original Supernatural and is a producer on The Winchesters, he's already started a fan campaign to save it.
Yeah, the CW canceled a bunch of stuff. The Winchesters, I think it held off some Walker prequel.
Yeah.
And the Winchester Supernatural spinoff, people love Supernatural. They want to save it. Other things get picked up. They might cancel Superman and Lois, but HBO Max might save it. That network has just gone through a big facelift since Nexstar bought them. They're going to get rid of everything and just kind of become a golf channel. I hope it become profitable. Sorry for CW fans. You've had a rough time of it recently.
Yeah.
CW Spiral, shout out.
Yeah,
Great
CW
podcast
Spiral.
available wherever podcasts are available. CW Spiral from a fan-sided podcast. Okay.
That's right.
Okay, you gotta make me say this. There's a lot of words coming to people. Okay.
I'm sorry.
So there's an anime called Trigun that came up in the 90s that I remember from the 90s. A Trigun super fan by the handle of Bigolus Dickolus Wolfward propels an award-winning 2019 sci-fi novel, This Is How You Lose the Time War, to the top of the Amazon charts. Daniel, what is this unlikely success story?
Yeah, so this Trigun stan, Bigolus Dickolus Wolfwood, tweeted a very unhinged book recommendation for this really beloved sci-fi novel, This Is How You Lose the Time War, by Amal El Motar and Max Gladstone. One like the Hugo, one the Nebula. This person tweeted this rec, and it went incredibly viral. Huge outlets everywhere are covering it, and it's been kind of a hilarious, heartwarming story of two fandoms meeting that were destined to be in love all the time, which is
that's what it's good for
to the book
when
really.
like just something unexpected happens, some random thing. The internet can be a real cesspool, but sometimes something just unexpected and delightful sort of bubbles up, and that's always fun.
And that is exactly the situation with that. It was an unexpectedly delightful meeting of two fandoms that were just like, it's great to be here with you, other fandom. So restoring my faith in the internet just a little bit. So here's an interesting one. Disney is making a joint Disney Plus and Hulu app.
Nice.
And they're also pulling a bunch of content when they do it.
I do not have information on hand about the content being pulled, but I do know they're making a joint Hulu Disney Plus app, which makes sense because I'm not sure if folk realize that Disney Plus and Hulu are both owned by Disney. They could be charging you one fee to watch both. They choose to separate them. Although Disney is like a most majority owner
they do a bundle.
Hulu. Weird. Well, what I'm saying is it's not like Hulu Plus. It's not Disney Lu. They are two separate things. You can bundle them, but it's not like one thing. And now
Totally.
they will, which tells me that Disney plans to buy it outright, but we're running out of time. So
Yes.
Disney Lou.
I think
And
that's
finally,
right.
Daniel, we got some release
Yes.
dates. The second season of Loki will be on Disney Plus on October 6th. And every
Yes.
episode of the new Marvel show Echo will drop on November 29th. How psyched are you?
I'm moderately psyched for this. I mean, Loki was great, so I'm happy to see Loki's coming back starting on October 6th. Echo, I'm intrigued for. It's interesting that they're dropping it all at once, like
Yeah.
Netflix style on the 29th. Marvel has never done that before. So it's a limited series. There's just going to be the one season of Echo. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm definitely going to watch both of them.
I'll watch Loki. I don't know about Echo. Yeah, and that's our show. Check it out. What did you say to me?
What? I said that's fair.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought you mouthed something.
I said that's fair if you don't want to watch all the Marvel shows, Dan.
Okay. I thought
It's allowed.
Cool. But yeah, it is allowed, and it's allowed for you to check in with us every single Wednesday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, 3 on the East Coast, 1 in the mountains, and noon on the West Coast, and other times in other places. We're here on the Winners Community Facebook page and YouTube page every single Wednesday at 2 p.m. CST. Also in podcast form wherever podcasts are downloadable. Check us out. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe. Watch some more. Thanks so much for watching already. And HBO, if you want to sue us for leaking set pictures, we do have diplomatic immunity. Do not ask the details. Bye.
Take care, y'all.